What's up, guys? Today is a very special day because today is May 1st, 2015. And for all fans of Marvel, you must know what that means. Avengers Age of Ultron is now finally out and playing. The wait is over. We can finally see it. We can finally see what happened next to our favorite Avengers in the next movie. But before I do that, I want to do a recap on all of Marvel's Phase 1 and Phase 2 movies and give my opinion on the top 10 Avengers films to date. So here we go. Let's get started. Starting from 10 to 1, 10 being the worst, 1 being the best. So the 10th best Marvel movie in the Marvel Avengers Phase 1 and 2 franchise, I'm going to go with Iron Man 3. Yes, so Iron Man 3 was the third Iron Man movie in the Iron Man franchise, and I found it to be the least exciting one, especially what they did with the character for the Mandarin. It didn't have that many scenes where Tony Stark was actually in the suit as Iron Man. It was very disappointing. There was a lot of cheesy humor. It wasn't as good as the first two movies, in my opinion. So that's where Iron Man stands in place to the rest of all the other Marvel films. So then number 9 would be Iron Man 2. Iron Man 2 and 3 were both very disappointing movies. Iron Man 2 was a little bit better than the third one because they introduced War Machine, and it was the first time you see Black Widow, who was played by Scarlett Johansson. It was her first movie appearance as well, and she was a huge character in the cinematic franchise. Also, the main standout in that movie for me was probably the racetrack scene. Even though it was only 5 minutes long, that's probably why it's so disappointing. There's only real 2 action sequences in that movie, and one of them is like less than 5 minutes long, and that's unacceptable for a Marvel movie, especially from the standards of the first Iron Man. So number 7 on this list, I'm gonna go with the first Thor. The first Thor was a decent movie. It wasn't as good as any of the others I'm about to talk about, but it's Thor's first movie, his origin story. It had a decent story explaining his background, where he came from. It showed his attitude, how Thor was before he realized what he was doing was wrong, and it brought him to Earth, where he met his love, Jane, and that's where the story kind of takes place for most of the movie. Then you go back to Asgard, and you fight Loki, who is a huge villain in the franchise too, and you'll see why in later topics. But Thor stands at number 7 because it was a decently entertaining origin story. Probably not one of the best origin stories out of all of them. Okay, so number 6. Number 6 would probably be either. All right, I'm gonna go with The Incredible Hulk at number 6. The Incredible Hulk was the first Hulk movie that didn't have Mark Ruffalo, because at the time they had Edward Norton, because that's who they had picked to be the Hulk, and that was a much improved Hulk movie from what we saw with that crap Eric Bana played. This movie took place in several locations around the world, from New York to Brazil. It had that 1980s Hulk TV show feel to it, and it was basically Hulk on the run from General Ross, and you saw him fight the Abomination, which was that other gamma radiation project with that soldier, who eventually fought off against the Hulk in the end of the movie, and that was a pretty entertaining movie, but still. So number 5, now we're getting to the big ones. Number 5 would have to be Thor: The Dark World. Yeah, Thor: The Dark World is definitely going to be better ranked than the first one because it got way bigger and way better the second time around. My favorite parts in the first Thor movie were the scenes in Asgard. So in this movie, they spent 70% in Asgard now. They even brought Jane back to outer space, and it was cool seeing all the warriors and the universe where Thor lives in, and seeing all that setting for the movie was very different, and it felt fun to watch. Loki also had a big role. because this is the first movie after the first Avengers where you see him again. So they explain what happens with him. There's these dark elves, the new villains there, and they're very dark, and the ending action scene's spectacular because they go through time warps and time portals. It was really fun to see that scene happen, and that was a really good movie. So number four would have to be Iron Man. Iron Man 1. Why not? That's the movie that started the whole Avengers project after all. It was a really, really good movie. It had a very, very big message, and what you create can harm innocent people. It started everything for Tony Stark. It showed his origin story. It was a great origin story. It showed how Tony Stark became to be Iron Man, and we saw a lot of action in that movie, but also a lot of story and heart. So we're getting closer, guys, to number one. So the next movie on this list would probably be the first Captain America, the first Avenger. Now, Captain America, if you may not know, is my favorite Avenger, so I might be biased, but this is my opinion after all. So Captain America, the first Avenger, is next on the list because it is a movie that totally stands out from the rest of any of the other Marvel Phase 1 movies. And it's an action-adventure movie set in a different setting, in a World War II setting. It had a classic 80s Indiana Jones type feel to it. It totally stands out. I love the time period. I love the setting. I love the characters. I love all the hauling commandos. I love the Red Skull. It was just fun to see a classic type setting for a Marvel comic book movie. You don't see superhero movies often set in that environment. It was very different and very entertaining to watch. And the ending was terrific because that was the last movie of Phase 1 before you see the Avengers. And the ending is really exciting because you see Cap meet up with Nick Fury in modern day world. I love the story of A Man at a Time. I find it so fascinating to see how Cap reacts to the situation he's in. And that's where Captain America, the first Avenger, is to me. So next on the list would probably be Guardians of the Galaxy. Yes, Guardians of the Galaxy. It seems like as of lately the Marvel movies are just getting better and better. Guardians of the Galaxy was definitely a huge surprise. Nobody expected it to be as good as it was. People were skeptical about a movie about a talking raccoon and a talking tree. But guess what? It's awesome. It's an amazing movie. It's basically Star Wars for Marvel. It's so entertaining to watch. The soundtrack, all the characters, how they interact with each other. They're not your typical superheroes. Guardians of the Galaxy is a testament of how you can create something new and fresh, and people are going to love it. I mean, Spider-Man came out last year, and people love Spider-Man, but nobody cared about that movie compared to Guardians of the Galaxy. It was so entertaining. The soundtrack was mixed with classic rock, and it just fit the movie so well. The story was so good. You see Thanos or Thanos again, however you want to call him. You can correct me, but it was a really good story, and the ending is wow, really good. So number 2, we're winding down. Number 2. Oh, it's going to be Captain America, the Winter Soldier. That movie was groundbreaking in the story. Huge events take place. That movie was almost Avengers level scale big. It was so good. The story was amazing. It really takes a turn for the whole franchise halfway through when you find out, spoiler alert, even though this movie's been out for more than a year now, but you find out that S.H.I.E.L.D. had been secretly infected by Hydra, and Hydra agents have been working for S.H.I.E.L.D. this whole time. So there's huge change of events and huge sequences. And the Winter Soldier is a humongously intimidating villain. He intimidates more with his physical appearance than his mental appearance, because he's got all these gadgets, and he's just a machine bred to kill. And it was so interesting and fun to watch this, to see this character go up against Cap and Black Widow, and the newly introduced Falcon in the movie, who is an awesome character, and I'm excited to see him in future movies. And yeah, so that movie really did a lot for me. I was really impressed. The action scenes were incredible. Like, who knew Cap could kick so much butt, like the honest trailers say? But I did because I love Captain America. And yeah, Captain America: The Winter Soldier was definitely the second best Marvel movie in Phase 1, for my opinion. So, number 1. What else could it be? Number 1 would have to be the first Avengers movie. How can you not love the Avengers? The Avengers had so much pressure and so much to live up to, and it absolutely did. It came through out of the ballpark with 3 grand slams. It was so entertaining and fulfilling to watch. The bringing all the characters together, they balanced their scenes so well together. They had so much humor, it had tons of action, it had everything you wanted to see in the Avengers movie. And it got even better as the movie went along. It was so entertaining to see the Hulk fight side by side Iron Man, to see Black Widow and Hawkeye take out enemies together. It was so fun seeing Cap give the orders, and it was so much fun seeing Hulk smash. It was entertaining. The Avengers is one of the best movies I've ever seen, and definitely my favorite Marvel movie until you know what it is. Okay, so what do you think about my list? Do you agree? Disagree? Let me know. I really hope you like this video. I'm extremely excited. Today is a huge day for Marvel fans. May 1st, 2015. I'm so excited and pleased what Marvel's giving us. It's just going to get better for years to come. Thank you, and I'll see you later.